helped. And now, Addict.
Marcy! I can't make it till that o'clock tonight. Will you run the meeting?
I don't know.
Everyone says you'll be president next year, but you can use the practice.
But,
Stay smart.
but,
Marcy, I get that list of council phone numbers by 8 in the morning.
I'll get it to you, Assistant.
Thanks. Come on, Marcy. Honor society meeting.
Mr. Culver said I can get the information from somebody. I have a student advisory committee.
Okay.
Student council, Latin club, physics. Where's the stupid advisory folder?
Good morning, sports fans. Today's activities include the sophomore volleyball game at 4 o'clock with the JV game to follow. Spirit Girls for hang signs this morning. Committee members should report to Marcy Wilson. We have the following student announcements. The prom committee is to meet in Mrs. Swartz's office this morning. Please pass Marcy Wilson, Ginger Cates, and Bo Bradford to this meeting. Latin Club members, see Marcy Wilson for your magazine sales packet. We'll meet at 8 o'clock Saturday morning.
Marcy Wilson. Marcy Wilson.
Marcy Wilson.
Days were getting short. Like every minute had fewer seconds in it. It'd be at least 2:30 in the morning before I'd get to bed. Then I started getting up earlier and earlier. I couldn't keep up the pace.
There's nothing in these pills but caffeine. They call them turkeys.
Caffeine, nothing else.
All I know about is caffeine with extra caffeine.
The turkeys worked for a while, but then I got to taking more and more of them, and it still wasn't enough.
Here, try these. Hey, easy. Pop that many and you're dead. These are the real things. Browns, amphetamines. Just take 2.
They look just like the turkeys.
The morgues are full of people who thought that.
Those 2 uppers lasted me all morning. I could do everything. I thought I'd found the answer. Except that in a week, I had to do 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 more in the evening. I could get to bed earlier, sure, but I was so hyped up, I couldn't sleep. I found downers. I did uppers all day, then Valium at night to calm me down. Then I won another election. The uppers went up even more, and the downers weren't downer enough. I started doing yellow jackets, or reds and bluebirds, barbecue. Life turned into an elevator that was going 1,000 miles an hour in both directions at once. And I was a happy living impression. One morning, even the Browns couldn't get me going. I had just enough mind left to see that I had to quit. But I didn't tell anybody. I thought I could bring myself out of it.
Are you sick, Marcy?
Yes.
Maybe I should stay home and take you to the doctor.
I'll be all right, Mom.
Are you sure? See you at 5:30 then.
So Mom went to work, and I quit the pills. The Browns were up about 10 o'clock. I got scared. I nearly popped some bennies, but I knew I couldn't. By noon, I had the shakes. I tried to rest, but my stomach was churning. I got sick 4 or 5 times. I dripped off to sleep for a few seconds, but I'd hallucinate and wake up gasping. I thought I'd feel better if I got dressed, so I dragged myself out of bed. But as I tried to walk, the shakes turned into convulsions. I gashed my face open on the dresser as I fell. Convulsions finally let up a little, and I reached for my phone to call for Mom, the emergency room, or somebody. But my muscles wouldn't respond. I couldn't even move that far. I remembered posters I'd seen at school, crisis line, drug counseling phone numbers. I remember people in assemblies saying that they wanted to help, saying it was dangerous trying to quit alone. I remember that I couldn't move enough to reach my phone. Then I felt my body slowing down. I actually felt it happen. My skin got cold and damp. The convulsions didn't come so often, but I could feel my breathing slowing down. It was still slowing when my clock read 2, and when it read 3 and 4, I never saw it read 5.
Me and Angie used to like to do was to get a supply of foods, go out to the little airport and watch the planes take off. We'd sit by the car outside the fence at the end of the runway and just watch them go. After a few routes, those things just seemed to hang in the air, moving so slow you could almost count the ribbon for them. The loop got us numb and weird a lot, and Angie got went crazy a couple times and she thought the planes were coming straight at us. But I don't know, we just kept doing it. We'd been looting a while one day, and there was no action on the runway, so we drove down to the hangars. They're working on a big twin-engine plane there, with propellers on each engine, moving so fast that you couldn't even see the tips. We had a couple of leads left, so we popped them. Once that loop took hold, those props just seemed to slow down and slow down, moving so slow. Like two ceiling fans from old-fashioned movie. All of a sudden, Angie says, "Dancy, I bet I can walk right through those props. Those are going so slow. I bet I could walk right through them." Yeah, well, I can too. The propellers were really going full speed, about 10 feet high when we walked straight into them. Angie lived 2 days. I survived 3. Enough pain for 100 lifetimes.
Okay.
Hands up! 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 Hands up!
Our second album hit stores opening day of the tour and was gold by noon. Our first album was still #1, and our new single topped the video and radio playlist by Friday. We were hot, and we were lovely. A Rolling Stone interviewer once asked me what it was like to sing to 1/10,000,000 faces. I said, it's like having 100,000 people scream, "I love you," at the same time. There's a song I do where I scream on it, "Hey!" and they scream it back, "Hey!" Man, you ought to feel 100,000 people scream, "Hey!" at you. This enormous wall of blood, and you've got to give it to them. You've got to keep them young, because once you've had it, you can't do without it. You can't do without the preparations either. The blade, the mirror, and that beautiful candy. and spread those lines out before the show. For 2 hours, there's not enough room in that world for me or for that 100,000. When it's over, I start to hear a little bit. The roadies are busy sweating out front. I gather up my little freebase kit. I heat the stuff, and I smoke it. It hits. It hits. Someone's always trying to drive me down, though. Telling me that I'm trashing my dream, that I'm murdering myself. Or telling me about somebody that Coke killed. Like one of our roadies. Got so gone on this stuff, he fell under the sound truck wheels and danced. I'm telling you, his mind had been rotten for months. Doctors tried to blame that on the Coke, too. Brain wiped out, they said. Anyways, I don't want to hear about that stuff. I don't have time for this. I've got a show to do.
The second they told my dad he had a baby son, he started writing my Olympic gold medal acceptance speech. But I started disappointing him right away. This guy at the office had a baby girl almost the same day I was born. He and Dad had a standing bet of $5 for who'd do what first. Dad lost $45 when the girl crawled, walked, said her first word, said her second word, said her first sentence, cut her first tooth, cut her second tooth, ran, and hopped on one foot before I did. She made it an even 50 when she won her first race. She ran it against me. Dad could hardly stand it when I cried through every softball practice, made goals for the other soccer team, and when the coach thought the best spot for me on the second grade football team was as a manager, I went out for sport after sport and kept being the last one chosen.
You know, I just don't get it, Tony. I was first string all the way. MVP 3 years of college football. Medals for marathon and wrestling. What's the matter with that boy? I mean, there's gotta be some ability in there someplace.
But it didn't look like there was any ability any place. Then I got to be about 15 and Dad decided I just needed to get some beef on me. So we went down to the gym.
This is a super weight training program. Best thing in the world for you, Bart.
I don't know if I had turned a corner or if it was my age or what, but as soon as I started lifting those weights, it felt exactly right. Maybe it was just that it was me alone. Me against me, instead of against everybody else. The gym opened at 6 a.m. and I was always waiting by the door. They had to kick me out every night. I'd been doing some bench pressing one afternoon when this guy came over to watch me.
You're looking pretty good. How long you been at it? A couple of weeks?
Yeah,
Stick with it. You'll get some definition after a while.
I'm ready for it.
Of course, you can rush things a bit.
No thanks. No muscles in the pill. I don't feel that easy.
Are you kidding? Forward twice too hard. Steroids get you so you can.
Nah.
I'll be fine.
In a week, I hit a standstill. I wasn't pumping more, and I wasn't getting any definition. Worse, I didn't have the endurance to work out as long as I wanted to.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Yeah. How much more you doing than yesterday?
I don't know.
Come on. I never knew a lifter who couldn't tell me to the ounce what he'd done. You're frozen up.
It's coming.
You want to wait?
Listen. pass this?
Shall you pass this?
Good morning.
So I'm at steroids. At first, I thought it was nothing. I didn't feel any different. But that night, I was still pumping hard when it got ready to close the place. A few days later, I was lifting the lights out of that place. In 2 weeks, I was ready to make a big crossover on the weights. As soon as I got to the club, I went straight for the bench. I'd been pressing 185 easy, so I started working up to it. 115, 135, 155, 185, no problem. I set 200. It went up like nothing. I took another pill. I was set. I loaded 125 pounds on each side. I laid down on the bench. I grabbed the bar. My heart was racing. I lifted 250 up. I started it down. Then the power in my arm shattered, and my elbows collapsed. I saw the weight coming, but it was too late to get out of the way. I saw the weight coming, but it was too late to get out of the way. Bench smashed with my neck and kept pushing until it nearly touched the bench. Then it just dropped there.
I loved elementary school. The rooms were always so bright, and I always knew the answers. Then everyone grew up at once. Everyone but me. And I couldn't catch up. My first morning in junior high lasted forever. I didn't know anybody in any of my classes. I got sick in gym, and I threw up on the floor. I ran home and I begged Mom, please don't make me go back. But Michelle, you have to. I couldn't sleep. I could still see those girls in class. So, I went to the kitchen, to the cabinet where we kept the liquor. I got a glass, and I poured, I don't know, something. It tasted terrible, but I felt a little better. I could sleep. The next day was just as bad though. I made it through gym, but nobody would come anywhere near me, and they were all giggling. I knew what I had to do. In the mornings, before school, I started taking a little drink. It was okay for a while, but then it was like every teacher decided that tomorrow, each of you will read your report out loud to the class. I couldn't sleep again, so take a little drink at bedtime. Then, before the class got to read, I'd take a little drink from a fruit juice can I kept there. I tried to quit drinking a lot of times. I could tell it was getting out of hand, and I got sick a lot. But then there'd be that 11th grade achievement test where there'd be dancing in the gym. There'd be guys, or it would always be something. Then, Art Phillips moved here. He was gorgeous. He was in every class I was taking. Luckily, he didn't know I was alive. But one Tuesday night, the phone rang.
Michelle, this is Art.
Art?
Whoops. All your classes?
Oh, hi.
Listen, this guy, he's having a party Friday night. You want to go?
Mom's got something she wants me to do. Can you call me back?
Sure.
I have a couple of drinks before you call back.
What's the word?
I guess it'll be alright. The party?
Terrific. See you tomorrow?
Yeah. I drank until I passed out. I was a wreck all week. Friday, I tried to get Mom to tell her I was sick, but she made me go. I relaxed a little when we got to the party. There was a lot of beer going around, and I got one for each of us.
How about a little something to go with that?
No?
Why not?
I'll get around.
Go ahead. Everybody's doing it.
I've never mixed drugs and liquor before, but I took the 2 pills. Already been drifting around. And when he came back, he said,
Here, just these two.
where are they?
I don't know. Had some over there.
I was really scared. This girl in my homeroom before, Sally, somebody, she got partying one night, drinking and taking whatever pills anybody gave her. She overdosed. When they got to the hospital, there was nothing the doctors could do. She'd taken 4 or 5 different kinds of drugs. The test couldn't trace them all. They just had a low iodine. She was in coma for 12 days. She never came back to school. They had to watch her all the time. Art kept coming back, giving me more pills. I'll try and throw them away, but they catch me and bother me until I take some.
What is your problem?
I was too far down the this. He was just so weird drugs to listen. The party turned into a nightmare. Kids started dancing everywhere. A lot of them were crying or screaming as if someone was torturing them. It was horrible. Art was the last one to fall. Except for me. I looked around. The room was like a battlefield where both sides had lost the war. But I thought I was alright. I was sore. My head started spinning, and my vision began to fade. The last thing I saw was someone coming in the door carrying a 6-pack. He dropped it and he ran for the phone. And I passed out too. At the time the ambulances got here, some of the kids were starting to come around a little. They all had to be admitted to the hospital then. Art kept slipping in and out of consciousness for 3 days. It was weeks before the doctors could tell how much damage the drugs had caused. They had caused a lot. But in one condition or another, everyone at the party eventually woke up. Everyone but me.
You want to know something, lady? I do paint. I also do hairspray and gasoline and glue and felt tip markers, and I have been known to do cooking sprays. Hey, want a huff, baby? Nah, this paint is all mine. What you looking like that about? Oh yeah, that's that girl, you don't know what you're doing to yourself look. Well, Louisa knows. You already told me when you were drug counselors and social workers and welfare shrinks. This will get you weird, and then we'll flop you out on the pavements and starting to chip your brain cells away. And then you'll walk like you're sloppy drunk. If you still can walk, that is. You won't want to eat a thing, and you won't want to do a thing, except huff. And then less and less of your mind will work, and you'll do crazy things to yourself and to anybody else who happens to be standing around. And then your kidneys will melt, and your liver will quit, and what's left of your brain, it'll turn to jello. And then you'll fall down, and then you'll pass out, and before long, you'll be dead. Aw, aren't you sad about that? We've got to help the poor ghetto girl. Let's send $10 to Catholic Charities. Well, save your money. The bottom of the barrel is 50 feet above my head, man, and we both know you couldn't care less. And maybe I don't care either. Well, maybe. So leave me alone, man. I'm busy. That was me in October. But by Thanksgiving, my mind was sliding. I tried to think things through, but they just wouldn't come together. Every day, I just huffed until I dropped. It didn't matter where. By December 1st, I was dead. Under the blade of a snowplow that I never saw coming.
It's lonely when two people are expecting a baby. And you're the only one that cares. Vinny, Mom wants me to pick out the baby bed today so she can start paying it out. Do you want to go?
Nah.
It won't take long.
Under 5 minutes?
No.
Then no. You got those cookies for me, didn't you?
They're in the kitchen.
Okay. Want a Coke?
You know I can't.
Best ever. Straight from the California hothouse.
Can I have $10 for shopping?
They said your mom was playing for bed.
She is, but I just wanted to buy a few things for the baby.
We don't need that stuff for 6 months.
We can spread out expenses this way. And I just wanted to buy some baby something that I could see.
Get it next week.
But I thought Mom could.
Summer! I don't have $10.
You got paid yesterday.
And there'd be a little more money if you got paid too.
The doctor said maybe I can work next month.
Well, until then, get that baby something you want to see. Now, go bed shopping. My game's coming up.
Summer, quit looking at those price tags. Pick the one you like best.
All right.
This really takes me back.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yours was like this one.
Was it?
You climbed over this rail when you were 7 months old. We thought you killed yourself for...
Mom,
What is it, huh?
Mom, I think there's something wrong with the baby.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm always sick, and the doctor's not telling me anything. Mom, I know it.
Summer, there's no reason to think you aren't going to have a beautiful baby, one just like you.
There is a reason, Mom. Before I found out I was pregnant, me and Vinny were smoking weed every day, lots of it.
But you quit, didn't you?
Of course. But I've been reading since I've been home. And I read that there's this stuff in pot that can mess up the eggs in your body so they don't grow right. Mom, I could lose the baby.
Summer, you and the baby are going to be fine.
I can't lose her, Mom. I want her so much. I just can't.
Summer, relax. Listen to the doctor.
So I listened to the doctor. And by next month, he said, I still couldn't work. Vinny threw kind of a fit, but he knew how to get over it. He knew how to get over all of his problems. He smoked them away. He was getting worse every day. He was always stoned, and he didn't make sense a lot of the time. But weed was getting him. But my little passenger was doing all right. My 6th month passed, and then my 7th, and I still couldn't work. But Mom helped us out.
Summer, this stuff just keeps getting better. I found a guy who brings up a load every weekend. He said he might let me go with him.
Then don't, please.
Hey, he cut my costs down.
I don't care.
So, your baby won't have a pusher daddy, huh?
That's not what I mean.
Well, I hope you and that kid could find room in this house for a lowlife like you.
Where are you going?
Buy some piece of dough. This stuff stinks.
So not everything was all right, but I thought the baby might help there too. My 8th month passed, and by then the baby was turning triple back somersaults about every 5 minutes. At least I wasn't worried about losing her by then. 4 weeks to go, and I just... Vinny!
What is it?
It's... the baby, I don't think it's supposed to feel like this.
That's not forever, huh?
No, you've got to take me to the hospital.
That's not till next month.
No, we've got to go to the hospital now, please.
Fine, let me get a J first.
No!
I get a joint, or I don't do nothing.
All right. The weather was cold but clear, and there was water running across the road. He was going too fast. He saw a truck coming around the curve. He cut back too hard. I was thrown from the car. Then he smashed through his windshield when he pitched free. The paramedics arrived and delivered my baby against the muddy hillside. She was beautiful, and she was blonde, and she was healthy. But I never got to hold her. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's I waited for the bass to hit. I rolled my head back and forth on the old couch, loving the rush. But I caught enough reality to smell something burning. I turned towards the door and I saw my hair go past my face. It was in flames! I twisted my head back and forth, but that just spread the flames to my cape. I was screaming, but there was so much noise in the corridor, no one could hear me. I ran into the hallway. Someone put a blanket over me. We called the paramedics, but we were in the middle of the biggest traffic jam in the city's history. Help was a mile away. The burning was up, but I could really sense it. Felt like the brain is still going on. Forever. I just had to wait.
There wasn't much love in my life. When I was 2, Dad thought it would be easier for Mom and me to get along without him. So he left about 3 o'clock one morning and took the car and every penny in the house with him. Mom had to work day and night. Guys ignored me and I didn't have anything to say to the girls at school. So I tried to find some love sprayed on the back of a stamp. LSD. I'd turn up the stereo and drop acid and find things in my head that I never knew was there. Everybody would tell me about bad trips and acid flashbacks, but I didn't buy any of that. And then I met Ben. He had brown hair and hazel eyes and a smile that would knock you out. I'd see him 2 or 3 nights a week and we always had a great time. He told me he liked older women and that was perfect since I was 16 and he was 7. So all of a sudden I had 2 loves in my life. I was turning on a lot, trying acid, sugar cubes, tattoos, and I got some mushrooms one time. But Ben was more important than any of it. If I knew I'd be sitting with him, I'd let the LSD go. I got home from school one afternoon and since I wasn't scheduled to babysit, I dropped some acid. The next minute, Ben's mom called.
Paul's boss just came to town, Jimmy, and we have to take him to dinner. I know it's short notice, but do you think you could sit for us?
Something told me to say no, but I was afraid they weren't going to be able to find a good sitter. I'll be right over.
Thanks, Jimmy. We always feel better when he's with you.
I figured the acid wasn't going to take since nothing had happened by the time I got there.
Full front, Jason.
Nothing had happened by the time I got to Ben's house.
Are you okay?
Sure, Ben.
You seem kind of, well, different.
I'm fine. What do you want to do?
Did you bring any records?
I left home so fast I forgot them.
Oh,
I'll
well,
do better next time.
we can play some of mine.
That's when the acid caught up with me. The worst way. A bad trip. I was hallucinating. I thought I saw something in the corner of the room. Then what's that?
What's what?
In the corner, what is it?
I don't see anything in the corner, Jimmy.
There, can't you see it? It's getting darker and darker, can't you see it?
No, Jimmy, you're scaring me.
It was like my mind had split in 2. I was hallucinating, but I was trying to take care of Ben and I could see both sides at once. Give me your hand, Ben.
No, what's the matter with you, Jimmy?
I was frightened myself, but I had to protect him. We'll be okay.
Stay away, you're scaring me.
It won't get us, I'll help you.
No!
I grabbed for his hand, but he ran out of the house. I ran after him, screaming for him to stop, but he was terrified. He headed for the walkway bridge over the expressway. Then stop!
Don't hurt me, Jimmy, please!
I wouldn't hurt you, Ben.
Get away.
It's all right. for him. He was so terrified. He lost his hold on the fence.
Jimmy!
I saw him hit the pavement. 5 cars passed over him before the traffic could stop. I stood on that bridge looking down at him. The hallucinations were over and all I could see was dead. I started to climb the fence and follow him, but I couldn't. I ran too. I didn't stop at the interstate. I didn't stop until a family from Portland let me out by the ocean. I just lived at the beach. People left a little bit of a sandwich or half a cold drink I could get. I beat the dogs to it. There'd even be money sometimes, and I'd think about buying acid. But then I'd think of bed. The temptation got too big one day, and I scored an LSD stare. I turned on about sundown. I was walking along the beach, and that's when I heard Ben.
Help me, Jimmy! Please!
I looked out into the ocean, and there he was, maybe 100 feet from shore.
Jimmy!
I swam for him. I reached for him. But when I looked up, he was 100 feet farther away. I kept swimming.
Please help me, Jimmy!
I reached for him again, but the same thing happened, only he was so far away this time I could barely see him. But I couldn't stop. I had to keep trying. Again and again. I had to keep trying. I had to.
There's 2 things that'll keep you alive in the street. And both of them are me first. Big friends with people who got good age, or have any good connections. If things get slow, you don't steal from them. Yeah, junkies don't press charges. Of course, you wouldn't want to meet them again in the dark. Almost everybody who uses smack steals it when the need gets big enough. But the business is very dangerous. Very unstable customers. Mugging was my system. Hey, listen up. I ain't got any money. So if you do, I'd like you to give it to me. 2 months of living like this, and then I tried it on a guy who turned out to be an undercover cop.
You have friends who are inside. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
They knew I was strung out on something. But all they did was put me in a tank. I needed horse all the time. But all they could do was throw me in a tank with a couple of drunks. 2 hours hit, and then it hit. I started walking back and forth. And then I started running to keep myself from giving into it.
Hey, sit down, man. You make me nervous.
Shut up!
Sit down, man. You're making me nervous.
Shut up before I make you dead.
Okay. Sorry, man.
But the running didn't last. My muscles started to cramp up. There's my legs, and my arms. My stomach was in knots. Felt like someone hit me with a house. And then the nausea hit. Screaming my head off. But then I couldn't scream because I was gagging so much. And then I puked all over the floor. And then my stomach hit so hard, I fell over in it.
Hey, get this guy out of here. He's making me sick.
Shut it in there!
I got friends that are gonna hear about this.
Shut it!
I was sweating so bad, my clothes were dripping. And then the chills hit. And then the nausea again. But I already tossed all of it. So all I could do was heave, and heave, and heave.
sleep. And then the muscle cramps came back, and I felt like my neck was gonna twist off. And then I started seeing things. There was this little guy. He'd jump up and kick me in the ribs. And then I'd go for him. And he'd be somewhere else, punching at me. And then he went behind me. He was back there all the rest of the night, jabbing at me.
Judge time, Kuda. Clean up and put these on.
I switched my shirt, then put me in a holding cell. But I was starting to get hyper again. Hey, can a guy get anything to eat around here?
You couldn't hold it.
Just give me something!
I'll check.
That's what I wanted, because I knew that the lowest bit of security was around the jail cell.
Stand clear of the door. You sick again?
Took a gun, and I put it underneath my shirt. There was a bathroom next to the court. I dodged into it. I ditched the shirt and I shoved the gun into my pocket. I started looking for connections. I heard there was this chick that hung up by the bus station. She sold the best stuff on the street. Not even cut much. Top stuff. Hey, you got any H?
Who's asking?
Kuda!
I heard a guy named Kuda took a fall. He's locked up.
Yeah, well, he's out. You got me or not?
Not.
I need the stuff!
You can't afford it.
I'm good for it!
Cash first, jailbird.
Whatever, lady! She had 2 balloons and a kit. I dodged over the street into an alley. I had to find some place. Then I saw a dumpster up against the wall that I ducked into. I got the stuff as ready as quick as I could, but I kept dropping it, and it kept mixing in with the oil on the floor. I saved as much of it as I could. It took 2 spoonfuls. I shot up twice, and I leaned back and waited for it to hit. But it didn't. So I started digging in the trash can. And I moved the box. Here was that little guy. Except this time, he was laughing. I went to kick it. But my foot didn't come down. The stuff hit me so hard, I smashed up against the dumpster wall. And then, crash. And the little guy jumped up on my chest and had a mirror. And I saw a junkie in the garbage. And then I was in the mirror and outside the mirror all at the same time. And then I was in my head. And I saw my brain explode. And then I saw it ooze out every opening in my face. And then I couldn't hear anything or see anything. Feel anything. They found me when the city truck came by.
I've always heard about those kids that when their parents' friends came over, they'd do a little trick, they'd sing or dance or recite a poem. Well, when I was 3 and my parents' friends came over, I rolled their joints for them. When you live with dope, you start early. By the time I was in 4th grade, I was smoking every day. By the time I was in junior high, I was stealing over $100 worth of weed a day, smoking nearly lit myself. And then I found angel dust. That PCP on a joint was just what I always wanted. Mom caught me about that time.
Janice, what are you dusting that with?
Seasoning salt.
Don't be smart! Is that PCP?
What if it is?
Because if it is, I want you to flush it.
Not likely.
Very likely. Hallucinations or no, you forget about angel dust.
This junk can flash on you. Leave it alone. You have to remember, this advice was coming from a lady who'd spent most of her life with a reefer in one hand and a beer in the other. Her worrying didn't worry me very much. Soon, I became a duster deluxe. I never dealt it though. I was always afraid I'd run out. That doesn't mean I didn't share. That's what got me busted. So I sold some grass to a friend one day and dusted a J for her. We got stoned before school. And then she flipped out in class. The police found the stuff in her purse. They said they'd let her off if she narked the pusher. She narked. Jails don't appeal to me much, so I took it. I never knew there were different kinds of jails. The children's wing was one of the worst. Grab it from out of that closet. I'll unlock the vegetable bin for you. Vegetable bin? You'll see. She unlocked the door. I saw the vegetable bin. It was a room full of the most beautiful people I'd ever seen. Most of them PCP users who'd never be outside again. The stink was unbelievable. They were like beaten, starving dogs. They couldn't even be restrained because they'd hurt themselves trying to get loose. Each of them had their own pain. One guy woke up after a few hours flashing that there were fire ants inside of his hands. He'd slam his fist again and again. He broke every bone in his hands. But his flashes were so regular that his bones never had a chance to heal. He had to be fed by an orderly. One girl, she couldn't speak. She woke up a few years ago flashing. Then her tongue had turned into a tarantula. She ripped it out. They found it across the room on the floor the next morning. But she kept on flashing the same thing, and she kept trying to rip it out. She had loosened all the teeth in her head and clawed the insides of her cheeks so bad that the marks even showed from the outside. And then there were those who didn't have the strength left to do anything, so they were chained to the beds. But sometimes, you'd hear them gagging, and you knew the flashes were back. I saw what the judge was getting at. I could weed and dust that day. My parents were still toking it up all the time, so I moved in with my grandmother. It was nice being in a place where you knew there's nothing in the grounds but chocolate. Soon, my grades were on the way up, and I started getting into really square stuff at school, like basketball games and school dances, even riding dumb, embarrassing ghosts to boys. I was through with grass. I was through with PCP. But PCP wasn't through with me. September the 16th, 45th day I've been clean. 2 a.m. I woke up. There were rats chewing behind my eyes. I slammed my fist against my hands, but they wouldn't stop chewing. I slammed my head against the floor, but they wouldn't stop. 2:30. I found my grandmother's knitting needles. At 2:33, I shoved them into my eyes. I kept shoving and shoving until the rats quit chewing. They locked me away in children's for a while. Autopsy log. Week of December 8th, 2003. Minson Pathology Laboratory. Audrey H. Minson, MD, Medical Examiner. Clements, Bart, male, 15 years. Site of death, Nolan Small Health Club. Death due to cardiopulmonary arrest. Secondary crush injury and tracheal laceration caused by falling weight bar. Accidental. Jackson, Summer, female, 19 years. Site of death, State Road 247, approximately 2 miles east of Benton. Death due to respiratory arrest, secondary to brainstem injury resulting from one car collision. Accidental. Subject pregnant at time of death. Infant successfully delivered by cesarean section. Wilson, Marcy, female, 16 years. Site of death, private residence, 883 Wilman Circle. Death due to respiratory arrest and subsequent brain death. Probable drug overdose. Trace amounts of amphetamines and barbiturates in bloodstream. Accidental. England, Jimmy, female, 17 years. Site of death, offshore Allen Beach. Body recovered by Coast Guard. Death due to suffocation from drowning. Trace amounts of hallucinogens. Accidental. Carson, Dancy, female, 17 years. Site of death, intensive care unit, Scott Hospital. Death due to cardiopulmonary arrest, multiple lacerations, multiple dismemberments, internal hemorrhage, and near decapitation by airplane propeller.
Methylocone present in bloodstream at time of incident. Accidental. Last name unknown. Kuda, male, approximately 18 years. Site of death, garbage receptacle, alley of 614 Centralia. Death due to heroin addiction and narcotic overdose, complicated by foreign body embolus. Body unclaimed. Accidental. Delgado Louisa, female, 15 years. Site of death, 96th Street at Callan Avenue. Death due to massive crush injury, internal hemorrhage, and multiple lacerations caused by municipal snow removal vehicle. Extensive liver, brain, and kidney damage due to inhalant abuse, contributory to incident. Accidental. Bailey, Michelle, female, 16 years. Site of death, private residence, 2816 Patton. Death due to massive drug overdose, complicated by blood alcohol level 3.0. Specific drugs undeterminable, some deterioration of liver. Accidental. Evans, Janice, female, 16 years. Site of death, chemical abuse wing, Children's Psychiatric Center. Death due to earlier brain injury, complications and infections secondary to self-inflicted needle puncture wounds. History of drug abuse, possibly contributory. Accidental.
The Kendra Star Memorial Concert. Everyone stayed. Not a ticket was returned for a refund. Kendra Star died the way she lived. That wall of love around her. There are worse things. Worse things than dying at the height of your career. You could be put in a home in the northwest of San Francisco with a staff of 5 to take care of you. You could still listen to the new voices on the radio, still see the concerts and the videos on television. But know that you could never feel that wall of love again. You could be alive. Like this.
Here in Payson, confidential drug and alcohol counseling is available. The phone numbers of these and other agencies are printed in your program. No matter how serious the drug or alcohol problem you or someone you know may be facing, or even if you only have questions, do not hesitate to call. Many substances besides the ones mentioned in Addict are being abused in this area, and most can be very dangerous. Drug and alcohol counselors are available to talk with you today. School administrators and counselors and the staffs of churches and synagogues are also sources of advice and support. Above all, remember that many, many people care about you. Please accept their help. It is not too late.